Hey man, how are you?
Hola, hola.
How are you?
Hello, man. How are you? Are you doing good?
Fine.
You hear me well?
Can you hear me right now?
Yeah, I can hear you. How are you? How you doing?
Fine, you?
Good, man.
How's
The
it
signal
going?
is okay? You hear me good?
Yeah, we can hear you too. Yeah.
Nice, that's nice. That's good.
How's everything in Colombia?
Good. I mean, now is the infection of the coronavirus is getting worse, but the economical thing is like reactivating. So at least here in Antioquia is better than in other cities and stuff like that. So it's okay.
Yeah.
It's not that bad.
Yeah.
I hope that everything is coming to the normal.
It's similar in Turkey too. Arkadaşlar, herkes hoş geldi. Bugün konuk Posada, Capilla del Rosario'nun sahibi ve kendisi kahve üreticisi. Bugün bize hem tarlada ve yıkama istasyonu olsun, kurutma istasyonu olsun bu tarz yerleri gösterecek. Hello everyone, today our guest is Jose Posada from Colombia. He is a coffee producer and Capilla del Rosario. Capilla del Rosario is the first coffee farm that I've ever visited. Thanks to Daniel and thanks to Jose. It was a beautiful trip.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. And I personally thank you, Jose, for your participation for this broadcast. So today you are going to show us around at your farm, depending on our connections. While you are walking for a tour, I would like to ask the first question, and I would like to ask the other questions at when you ended the tour. But first, can you introduce yourself a bit?
Yes, of course. So, hello everyone. My name is Jose Posada. I am a coffee producer. The name of the farm is like this. It's Capilla del Rosario. I know that it's a little bit long, the name, but that's the name that this farm had for 100 years. So we want to keep that tradition with the name. That's why we keep the long name in the farm. My uncle bought the farm in the '88. We were industrial, traditional Colombian farm where we process a normal wash coffee, Colombian coffee. We had a total of 450,000 trees in that moment in 100 hectares. So we were, for Colombia, we were quite like big. And I'm gonna show you something. And in the moment, we are the biggest coffee farm in the city of Medellin. Let me switch the camera. So you can see there, like in the back, that is Medellin. So we are actually in the city. You can see, like we have like buildings everywhere, everything here. That is something that is not usual. That is something really weird. But in the moment we have 65,000 trees. Mainly we have two varieties of the Arabica varieties. The old Colombian variety that have 30 years old, the trees, and a Castillo variety. And the other thing that we're doing at the moment is something that we're going to talk later, and is this.
Yeah, it's nursery, right?
The nursery, yeah, is a lot of different varieties that we're introducing in the farm because we changed the traditional way to have the farm to a specialty way. That means that we have to learn about fermentation, about different processing, about different varietals, different ways to process and to cultivate the coffee. We changed that because we want to increase our profits. Because our farm is in the city, so the taxes are higher than the normal farms. So that's why we want, like, okay, let's change the way that we're doing the things to increase profits, and that we changed that like in three years ago.
I'll translate a bit as I remembered it. Arkadaşlar, Jose bahsettiğim gibi Capilla del Rosario'nun sahibi. Capilla del Rosario'nun 80'li yıllarda kurulduğunu, eski isminin bu olduğunu ve bunun aynı isimle devam etmesi istediğini söyledi. Aslında uzun bir isim ama bir yandan da tarlanın kuruluşuna sadık kalmak istedik dedi isim olarak. Onun dışında şu an 65 tane fidanların olduğunu söyledi, ürün yetiştirmekte olan. Bunun haricinde bir yandan gezerken bize fidanlığı gösterdi. Fidanlıkta nitelikli kahve çeşitlerini yetiştirdiklerini söyledi. Bayağı uzun konuştu aslında, o sebeple hatırlayabildiğim kadarını çevirdim olabildiğini. Yeah, you can keep going. Sorry, the first question is, what is, would you tell us the story of Capilla del Rosario at the beginning?
Yeah, so Capilla del Rosario is a farm that my uncle, he bought that in the 88, 30 years ago. We had 450,000 trees. In the moment we have 65,000 trees. I am second generation of coffee grower. I grew up in this farm. So later on I'm gonna show you places where I grew up, like when I was 1, 2, 3 years old in the farm. So people are like, hey Jose, what is your experience in coffee? And I was like, and I'm like, I don't know, I grew up in a coffee farm, so it's quite it's difficult to say the experience that I have in coffee farm. It's something of my life, of everything of me. So I'm gonna show you guys today everything of this farm, okay?
Okay, I'll translate it. Tam 88 yılında kurulmuşlar. Başlangıçta çok daha fazla ağaç varmış. Şu an 65 ağaç var. Jose tarlanın ikinci jenerasyon yetiştiricisi, kahve yetiştiricisi. Bebekliğinden beri orada büyümüş.
Okay. So in the moment we're doing specialty coffee because we want to be more profitable in this farm. That's why we changed to specialty coffee, and we move on from traditional coffee farming to specialty coffee farming. That means that we have to investigate, to develop different varieties, different processing, to learn of cupping, to learn of brewing, preparation, roasting, everything. Because like passing the days, as a normal coffee grower here in Colombia, is like just produce, sell that big quantities, and that's it. And you don't worry about cupping, you don't worry about tasting, you don't worry about nothing. So in this case, we have to learn all the steps that represents a specialty coffee and the beauty of that, right?
Yeah, I'll translate it. Başlangıçta, yani Kolombiya'daki birçok tarla gibi traditional coffee dediği şey aslında ticari kahve, commodity coffee diye de söylüyorlar bazen traditional diye de söylüyorlar. Başlangıçta ticari kahve üretimleri varken ilerleyen zamanlarda özellikle Jose geldiğinden itibaren yoğun bir nitelikli kahve üretimi için araştırma, geliştirmeye girişmişler. Kahveyi daha karlı bir hale getirebilmeye başlamışlar. Benim ek fikir olarak verebileceğim şey, benim de hem Jose'lerden öğrendim hem Daniel'lardan ve bütün Kolombiya seyahatimden öğrendim. Nitelikli kahvenin eğer ki küçük araziniz varsa daha fazla kar getirdiği yönünde. Çünkü ticari kahve üretiminde çok fazla fiyatla satamayacağınız için ve alanınız küçük olduğu için sürümden kazanamıyorsunuz. O zaman ek katma bir değer katmanız gerekiyor. Continue.
Okay, so we changed in that, and then we start to create three main pillars in Capilla del Rosario. So we did one that is the specialty coffee, right? To produce a better coffee, to sell it at higher prices and have a better profits, right? Then because we are the biggest farm in a main city in Colombia, that means that we actually have a really good opportunity with tourism, right? So the other pillar is the tourism that we want to increase here. More than just tourism to get money, is more like a educational tourism. So we can teach to the people about the specialty coffee and show them like different varieties, different fermentation steps. So it's more like, okay, cultural and educational tourism, because people here sometimes come and say like, hey, I have never seen I don't know, like a coffee tree, or I didn't know that the coffee seeds came from came from a cherry, or things like that. So we want to do like this educational tourism that is really important, and not just for foreigners but for Colombians as well, because a lot of coffee growers are like, what is a honey process? What is a natural process? What is that? What is these strange things that you are doing? Why you have this type of varieties? I have never heard about this kind of varieties and stuff like that. So we want to open for education, and that is where it comes the third pillar. So like the first pillar, that is a specialty coffee, and the second one is tourism. That is like the income and the money. But we want to do something that is not profitable, that is the educational way. So we work with some universities. We have done some courses, free courses of fermentations. I give the farms like to different projects of fermentation, of education and stuff like that. And we don't want to charge with this kind of tip, because we want to improve the investigation and develop in Colombia about coffee growing. And because we are like in the middle of a city, of a main city, so we can actually be part of a great impact in the coffee culture.
I'll translate a little bit. Jose bir yandan Capilla del Rosario'nun nitelikli kahve geliştirmesine yardım ederken, yani ana fokuslandıkları, odaklandıkları bu. Bir yandan ticari kahve üretimlerine devam ediyorlar. Bir yandan da üretimin dışında Medellin merkezine de yakın olmaları sebebiyle kahve turizmini canlandırmaya çalışıyorlar. Bunlardan bahsetti biraz. Bunun dışında hem turizm için hem yetiştirme için çeşitli yerlerden, üniversitelerden ve birliklerden eğitim aldığından bahsetti. Ve demin gördüğünüz yerde bu arada nursery, fidanlık diye geçen yer. Orada çeşit varyeteler var. Continue.
Okay, and that's it. I mean, in resume, that's what we are in our farm. So I don't know if you want to keep the questions that you send me.
Sure. Right now, which varieties do you have in your nursery?
A lot. So it's because, okay, first of all, we have two varieties: a Castillo variety and a Colombian, a yellow Colombian variety, right? That's what we had like in the beginning, and then we start to create to germinate different varieties. So in the moment, I'm gonna show you what I have here in the nursery. So a great friend of mine, he's a German guy that lives here in Medellin. He was
he is the owner of the Desayuneros Cafe, right?
Yeah, that one. Yeah, Nikolai. So he was a judge in Honduras, and he bring me some seeds from there of the winner of one of the competitions.
He's a cup taster.
I don't remember the name.
Germany.
Pardon me?
He's a cup taster champion at Germany.
Yeah, he's the cup taster in Germany, and he bring me these varieties from Honduras. So this one is a Parainema. This one here. He brings me some pacamaras, yellow pacas, and red pacas. These here are the red pacas and the yellow pacas. This one is from the same genetics as the bourbon, for the same line of like genetics. Here I have some yellow bourbon from a farming here in Colombia as well. This one are some laurinas. As you know, like laurinas is a coffee tree that doesn't have.
I heard it before from Emi Fukuhari. She is the World Brewers Cup champion at 2019. I think she used that variety in the competition. Okay.
So laurina is I think that is the variety that have less caffeine in the world. That make it that it's really difficult to cultivate. The production is really low, but it's just because we're doing micro lots of all these different varieties. So here are like the germination steps. I have here some maragogipe.
Mm-hmm.
Let me show you something else. So here's some geisha. This geisha is from the winner of the Cup of Excellence here in Colombia, of the farm Mikawa. That the name of the farmer is Paul Doyle. He's a really cool guy. He's from the US, and he's crazy. That guy is awesome. I mean, he's really like passionate with coffee, with fermentation, and everything. So I have his coffee seeds. We have two types of geisha: the bronze type that are going to look like this. If you see this leaf looks a little bit like darker.
Yeah.
This one, and this
like
one is
a little bit.
Yeah. So if you let me show you if I have a better example. So as you see here. You see here that this one looks like bronze, like a darker.
Yeah.
So this one is a Caturra chiroso that is with bronze type, and this one is a Caturra chiroso that is a green type. So he actually separate the geishas by the leaves to see which one is better. So some people say that the green type geisha is better than the bronze type geisha, but it's difficult. It's going to depend of a lot of variables.
Yeah, I'll translate a little bit.
Okay.
Şu an arkadaşlar Fidanlık'ta geziyoruz ve Fidanlık'ta hangi varyetelere sahip olduklarını sorduk ve ciddi büyük bir fidanlık bu ve birçok varyete var. Ellerinde Colombian, geisha'nın iki türü, maragogipe, pacamara ve pacas ve bunların kırmızı ve sarı olanları var. Keza Colombian varyete. Şimdi öyle. Ayrıca gelen geisha varyeteleri Cup of Excellence kazanan bir tarladan gelen bir geisha tohumundan çıkma fidanları getirmişler. Ve aynı zamanda o tarlanın ismini unuttum şimdi ama aynı zamanda fermentasyonları da çok fazla deneyler üzerine uğraşılmış. Fermentasyon aşamaları hakkında. Bunları gösterdi. Ayrıca benim de şu an yeni öğrendiğim çok güzel bir şey oldu. Bunları getiren arkadaşı yaprak renklerine göre ayırıyormuş. Bronz ve yeşil olmak üzere. Bronz renkte olanları ayrı yetiştiriyormuş, yeşil yapraklıları ayrı yetiştiriyormuş. Muhtemelen bunların da tadı farkı olacaktır çünkü komple yetişme aşaması. You can continue.
Okay, so that is what I have here in the moment, but I have as well some catuais, some mochas. I have some libericas, just for educational purposes. You know, the libericas grows like 8-9 meters tall. Are trees that are really big.
I saw it before at La Morelia at Pereira. It's very different than the other coffee trees. It's very huge, actually.
Yes, it's really big. So we have as well SL28, SL34, some Sudan Rome, típicas that we call here in Colombia pajarito. What else? Bourbon Sidra, yellow, the pink one. We have around more than 25 different varieties, but we're going to do that all in like small microlots. Why? Because we want to taste every single coffee variety to see which one is going to be better for this farm, and then to replicate. So one of the purposes is educational one. To see how it's going to behave, the variety, the production, how it's going to react to different processes of fermentation, to taste the actual variety. And the second purpose is to see, okay, this one is the one that behaves better to this farm, because we have to know that every single farm is different from the other one. So if I tell you different things of fermentation, hours, temperature, humidity, that are going to be totally different to another farm. So that's important because geisha, like example, geisha is a really famous variety, and everyone is like, oh, geisha, I'm crazy about geisha.
Yeah.
but I have tasted more bad geishas than good geishas.
Yeah.
Because people are like, crazy, and they think that they're just going to grow and it's going to win the Cup of Excellence, but it's not like that.
Yeah.
So that's why it's important to know the different varieties, the different genetics, different processings, and that's why we are doing this nursery here. Okay.
I'll played it. Genel olarak fidanlığın, bu arada daha önceki tarla yayınımızda Honduras'ta da görmüştüm. Çiftçilerin hangi varyeteleri kendi tarlasında, kendi koşullarında, kendi ikliminde, kendi terroirında nasıl yetişeceğini keşfetmesi ve o varyeteler üzerine bilgi edinmesi ve deneyler aşamasında hangi fermentasyona uydukları, eğer güzel yetişiyorsa veyahut klasik denemelerle tatlarının güzel çıkıp çıkmadığı gibi bu tarz araştırmaları yapıyorlar. Bu esas o da fidanlık kurmanın bütün tarlalarda bu geçerli anladığım kadarıyla, çünkü bir önceki yayınımızda, tarla yayınımızda aynı şekilde Isabel de bunu bahsetmişti. You can continue, Jose.
Okay, so I'm gonna show you guys something how that normally works. So normally we take the seed, the seed of the coffee cherry, right? Then we put that like in sand like this. It's because we need a lot of filtration, so the water don't stack and get like mold and bad. And then around 50 to 60 days, it's going to germinate, and it's going to look like this one, like this here.
Yeah.
So here in Colombia, we call that like little soldiers, because it looks like a lot of like different like little soldiers, or match, because it looks like a, you know, like a match, the one that we put on the fire. So we call this like match stage. And then in a few days more, they are going to open the leaves, and are going to be rounded like this one here, right? And here in Colombia, we call this chapola, and in chapola, and that means that means butterfly in a slang here in Colombia. And because if you see it, it looks like half the wings. That's why we call it like this, like that, like a butterfly. So if you see, look the difference between these two first leaves that are like rounded, and these here too. You see, they are like pointed, like are different. So that is the first cross in here. Is where we say, okay, this one are the first real leaves, and then we can move it to the plastic bag. So I'm gonna show you here the roots of the coffee plant, and then we have to decide, okay, which roots are good to plant it. So we need to have one mainly root like this one that is all vertical, and then secondary roots that are horizontal. If we have more than one main root, that is not going to be a good plant. Or if the root is not like that, but it's like this, you know. It's like curly. Then let me see if there is if you want, you can translate that, and then I continue.
Yeah.
So look, this one is like not a good root. You see the difference?
Yeah.
So we are not going to put this in the nursery because this is not going to live. This is like a bud.
Yeah, I think it's not match and holds the earth.
Yeah.
Is that it?
You see this one that is not good?
Yeah.
So we call this a pigtail. Because you see that it looks like a pigtail. So that's why we call it like that, and we don't want to plant these coffee trees. Because this one are not going to grow healthy and nice. But this one instead, that is like a good root, is going to grow nice.
Yeah, roots are splitting, I think, everywhere. Yeah.
Sorry? Yeah.
Yeah. I think roots are splitting to everywhere, as I see. Yeah. I'll translate a little bit.
Okay.
Arkadaşlar burada ektikleri kahve fidanını ilk ektikleri yetiştirmek için böyle fidanlığa koymak için ilk ektikleri yeri gösterdi. Bu kahve tohumuna yani işte çekirdeğini koydukları ve ilk çıktığı aşamada yine çekirdekle çıktığını küçük askerler dedi hatta çok da hani hoş gözüküyor. Canlı görmesi de çok heyecan verici bence. Onu gösterdi. Onun dışında ilk filizlendikleri anı gösterdi. Kolombiya İspanyolcasında verdikleri ismi söyledi. Şimdi unuttum. Kelebek demekmiş çünkü kelebeğe de benziyor dedi bir anda kapanırcasına. Sonrasında büyüdükçe dedi sivrileşmeye başlıyor, kesinlikle başlıyor. Bildiğimiz halini alıyor dedi yaprakları için. Onun dışında da bu fidanlığa geçmeden önce fidanlığa geçirdikleri zaman nasıl karar verdiklerini de gösterdi. Fidanları çıkarıp yerinden, minik fidanları, köklerinin nasıl serpildiğini, ne taraflara gittiğini, ne tarafa doğru uzadığını bakıyorlarmış. Bazıları direkt aşağı inerken, bazıları farklı yerlere saçılabiliyor. O tarz fidanlar toprağa daha rahat tutunabildiği için onları seçiyorlarmış fidanlığa koymak adına. Sonrasında da onların yetişme ihtimali daha iyi oluyormuş tabii ki. You can continue.
Okay, so then we take the plant and we put it in this plastic box with soil, right?
Mm-hmm.
We have to wait around 6 months. That is going to be something like this, like this big. And then this one are about maybe let me see, maybe like in 15 days we're going to plant this one.
Uh-huh.
So these one are almost ready to be planted in the coffee field. Then we move it to the coffee field after 6 months. So germination takes 50 to 60 days. Then leave it in the coffee box for 6 months, and then we can go up there with the box and plant it. Okay. And the first cherries that we're going to pick are going to be in 18 more months. That means that it's 2 years from the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
The first harvest is not good. It's really are just like a few coffee cherries, so the production is not really good. So we have to wait around the 4 to the 5th year to be ready to pick a good production and good quality of coffee.
Do you sell at the first harvest as a commodity coffee?
Yes, I just like mix it as batch process and that's it.
Okay.
Yes, because it's actually good. Okay.
Deminki son fidanlık aşamasında ilk o ekilenlerin belli bir aşamada 6 hafta sonraki hallerini, sonra da ne hale geleceklerini, yani tarlaya ekme aşamasında ne hale geleceklerini gösterdi. O büyümüş olanları da 6 hafta sonra da tarlaya ektiklerini söyledi. Ve tüm başlangıçtan sonra ilk hasat alınması genellikle Kolombiya'da 2 yıl alıyor. Bu 2 yılın sonunda bunu ben daha önce ilk gittiğimde de dinlemiştim Daniel'dan. İlk hasat genellikle iyi olmuyormuş arkadaşlar. Bu sanırım çok yaygın olan bir durum. Bunu da ilk çıkan hasadı da genellikle ticari kahve olarak harman varyetelerini karıştırıp ilk kahve olarak piyasaya satıyorlarmış. You can continue, my friend.
Okay. So we sell it as a commodity coffee, or just for seeds. You know, if we want to reproduce a certain variety, because some of these varieties are really difficult to get to here in Colombia. So, like example, like Sudan Rume, a friend of mine just gave me two trees, right? And I'm like crazy everywhere trying to find this variety, and it's impossible. Yeah. So I have to wait for these 2 trees to give me seeds, and it's going to take more time. But with some varieties, they are that rare. You have to do that. Okay.
Because of the situations of the Yemen, I think. The situation of Sudan.
No, it's because it's difficult. It's just difficult. I mean, if you want to bring like a seeds for like from Africa, first of all, it's illegal, right? Because you cannot like bring seeds to another country.
Yeah.
So it's actually really difficult when to get seeds for germination. purposes, because you cannot germinate the green one that is already like dry and that's it. You need to have a lot of moisture inside the bean to germinate. So it's complicated to get some varieties.
Yeah, I'll translate it. Şu an arkadaşlar gördüğünüz yer kurutma istasyonu ve farklı proseslerde olan kahvelerin kurutma aşamalarını görüyorsunuz. Beyaz bir tente altında yükseltilmiş yataklarda kuruyorlar. Varyetelerden biraz konuştu. Özellikle Sudan Rume'den bahsetti ve Sudan Rume'nin getirilme zorluğundan bahsetti. Ben başta bu Yemen'deki durumlardan dolayı getirilebildiğini düşündüm ama genel olarak bu farklı ülkelerin, farklı varyetelerin ulaşmasının zorluğu bizde de geçerli olan ülkeden ülkeye tohum taşınma yasağından dolayı. Bu getireniniz oldu mu hiç bilmiyorum, yeşil çekirdek falan. Eğer bulurlarsa bagajda almaya çalışıyorlar havalimanında falan da. Daha önceki yayında da hatta Moizabeller de ektiği geçeyi mesela Panama'dan arabayla, çantayla getirdiklerini söylemişti arkadaşlarının falan. Tohum getirme sıkıntısı bununla ilgili yaşanıyormuş. You can continue.
Okay. You want to continue to the other questions?
Other question is, what is the advantages and disadvantages of being close with city town?
Okay, so disadvantages, the taxes. Taxes are really high here when you are like in a that close. I mean that we are in the city, right? The other part about like people when we have a lot of neighbors that have a lot of like illegal houses that want to come in. I mean, it's like it's a big social problem to have like a farm like this in the city, because a lot of people want to just come in, you know, steal stuff. If you like have some fruits or bananas and stuff like that, so the people are just going to steal a lot of stuff. So it's quite difficult in a social part. And the taxes, I think that is the worst part of that. And the good thing about having a farm in the city. First of all, like we are close to universities, right? We are close to different areas of investigation and development.
Yeah, you can easily research it about coffee farming.
Yeah. So we can actually like work with a lot of institutes and a lot of people in farming, investigation and development. So that's great, right? The tourism is really nice because that generates a lot of incomes for a farm. Because as we know, to produce specialty coffees is quite expensive. Like example, if I want to produce a geisha, can cost around 4 to 5 times more than a normal Castillo one, right? Because I have to put more fungicides, I have to put more insecticides, I have to put I have to manage the weed and everything like in the ground different, because the plant is really delicate, and because in the moment we are changing the way that we're doing like chemical industrial things, we're moving more like sustainable and not totally organic, but sustainable and a little bit like with biological controls. So we are putting different insects, we're putting bees for pollination, we have a lot of really nice projects to have like a better environmental farm, and not just with a purpose of the environment. No, it's about quality and production. More bees, more pollination, more production, right? So we have to change a little bit about that, because the way that we think about that, because people are like, I'm going to produce organic because the people are going to pay me more because it's organic, right? But no, it's not just that. It's the quality increase, the production increase, everything increase. We are not going to be full organic, but we are using biological controls and biological ways for fertilize, for control of insects and stuff like that. Okay.
You grow different type of bee without needle. I remember that.
Yeah, yeah. It's without a sting.
Yeah, without a sting.
Without a sting. So the good things about having a farm here in Colombia, I mean in the city, is that we actually can work in really cool projects that is not just farming, right? Investigation, development, that's the best part of having a farm like in the city.
Yeah.
And to show this to the people. Okay.
Arkadaşlar soru şuydu, gelen soru. Şehir merkezine yakın olmanın avantajları ve dezavantajları nelerdi? Şu anda kahve kirazlarının görüyorsunuz. Henüz olgunlaşmamışlar. Dezavantajların en büyük olanı, yani uzun bir muhabbet oldu, o sebeple hatırlayabildiğim kadarıyla söyleyeceğim. Dezavantajının en büyük yanı şehirde çok yakın olunca bizim vergilerimiz çok yüksek oluyor diyor. En büyük dezavantajı bu. Çok ciddi vergi ödüyoruz dedi. En büyük avantajı için de üniversiteye çok yakınız. Üniversiteye çok yakın olduğumuz için de tarım için yeterli araştırma donanımına sahip oluyorsunuz dedi. Ne kadar şehre yakınsanız o kadar kolay gidip gelebiliyorsunuz üniversiteye. İlişkileriniz o kadar kuvvetleniyor tarım araştırmaları için ve bir şeyleri doğru yapma olasılığınız daha fazla artıyor diye bahsetti. Ayrıca ufak bir şey hatırladım. Kendisi de bahsetmişti. Bir yandan da tohum fidanlar arasında üremenin artması için de biyoçeşitliliğin artması için de üretiyorlardı. Çok değişik böyle iğnesi olmayan minik arılar üretiyorlar arkadaşlar. Onlardan bahsetti biraz. Continue.
Okay, so that's Medellin.
Yeah, it's very cool.
There is some of the coffee plants here.
Yeah, and there's some flowers. This looks nice.
Something that is really weird in Colombia is that we have 2 harvest seasons.
Yeah.
That is something complicated because in other coffee countries they only have one harvest season, and because here we have 2 wet seasons, that's why we have floration like this. So you see here, that is the coffee here. This one is around like 6 months old. This one. This little one is about maybe 30 days old. The little one. So it starts from flower because the plants feel like stress. So it's going to feel like, okay, I have to reproduce seeds because my species have to survive. And then when some water starts to drop, so the plants say, okay, now it's safe to produce flowers, right? So they start like this, they start like this one here, then it starts to grow like this ones. Then this one is about to open, and when it's open, it's like this one here.
Yeah.
Then when it's open, it starts to create the bean, the coffee cherry like this one. And then it's going to start the process. This one is maybe two months old. This one is maybe like 4 months old, and it's going to start to grow like this one. Then when it's ready, like this one here. So this one here is nine months old. And this is the coffee cherry. So as you can see, we can see all the process, 9 months of process in just one tree. And that is something that is really weird. And that's one of the reason. I mean, it's common here in Colombia, but for, I don't know, like Central America, it's really weird to have these conditions.
This tree is which variety?
This one is a Castillo variety.
Castillo.
This one is Castillo.
Also, most of consumers in Turkey or most of baristas in Turkey curious about the taste of the coffee cherries. How is this taste?
Okay, so this is the coffee cherry, right? The coffee cherry inside have two seeds.
Yeah.
So here's the skin. Inside the skin is the honey or the mucilage. That's why we call the honey process because we're going to leave like the meat or the pulp inside in the dry station, right?
Yeah.
Then inside these coffee beans are the parchment. The parchment is that like white skin that protects the seeds. Inside this, the parchment is a silver skin that is a thin layer that protects as well the seed, and inside is the seed that we roasted. So we have to remove all these layers to roast the coffee and to drink it. Okay, so the taste is going to depend of the varieties. Some of them taste like really fruity. Some taste like floral. Some of these are really sweet. Some of them not. It depends on the variety. So look,
altı
here
is the one cherry, geisha cherry. It tastes like a little bit jasmine and honey, I think.
Yeah.
Which variety is this? Yellow.
So this one is a Colombian variety.
Yellow Colombia, I think.
Yeah. And if you see the trunk here, it's really thick. It's really big. So it's because these trees have 30 years. So this one is 30 years old. That's something that is not common as well here in Colombia. And as you can see, this variety don't turn red. This one turn yellow when it's ready.
Yeah.
So, and people are a little bit confused with this and are like, why? This is not going to turn like red. And I tell them like, okay, there are some green apples and red apples, right? So in the coffee, there are cherries of different colors. Yellow, red, purple, pink. We have different colors, so it depends on the variety. See? So this one, the yellow one, is a little bit more sweet than the red one normally. And I think that is because of the variety. Some of them have these stripes like orange stripes. You see here?
Yeah. You mentioned about this stripe bourbon when I visited you. With the
there are some
stripe bourbon with stripes.
Yeah, some.
Is that it?
No, it's not this one.
This one is stripe color.
No, it was another. It's because depends of the genetics of different coffee trees. They're going to look with different stripes.
Is
Some
there
people
taste differences with the stripe one or without stripe?
The problem is that it's too difficult to know that. Why? Because let me show you something. Like you see that tree there. So that tree gives more shade to these coffee plants, right? Yeah. So because give more shade, so that means that the coffee cherry is going to get ripe slower than the other ones. So even though you taste like this tree to this tree are going to taste different. So there is a lot of different variables, and it's too difficult to say, okay, this is going to taste different than this one. You know, like every single cherry and every single tree is going to taste different because, like this one is under shadow, that one is not in the shadow. You see the difference. So,
yeah.
And the genetics is different. Like example, look this tree. Look how tall it is, and have the same age that the ones in the size. Why? Because the genetics just change a little bit. Like I know, like human beings, that some are taller than other ones, that and stuff like that. So when you start to mix all these different varieties, you are going to have like crazy stuff in the farm.
I'll tell a little bit this whole process to consumers and the baristas.
Okay.
Arkadaşlar bayağı uzun bir muhabbet oldu yine ama çok güzel görüntüler var. Ya benim gözlerim parlıyor görürken tekrar ki gittiğim tarla olmasına rağmen. Bize sarı Kolombiya ağaçlarından gösterdi örnek olarak. Onun dışında bourbon ağacı gördük. Yanlış hatırlamıyorsam bir tane olgunlaşmakta olanları, ağaç üzerindeki olgunlaşmaya başlayan kirazların yaşlarını, yani 3 aylık olan vardı, 6 aylık olan vardı, 9 aylık olan vardı. Bir yılını doldurmaya başlayan, iyice olgunlaşmış kırmızı olanlar, bourbonlardan yanlış hatırlamıyorsam, onlar 9 aylık demiş yanlış hatırlamıyorsam. Onun dışında tadı üzerine birazcık konuştuk kirazların. Çünkü bana çok soruluyordu. Hatta nişanlım Duygu da soruyordu tadı nasıl diye. Benim tattığım bir geşe kirazı vardı. O çok hafif, tadı Yasemin'i ve müsilajından dolayı balı andırıyordu. Ve proseslerden biraz bahsetti o aynı zamanda ve o kirazların nasıl ayıklandığını, ayıklanırken nasıl çıktığını, bunları gösterdi. Güzel bir örnek oldu bir yandan. Yani işlem anlatımı hızlı ama çok verimli bir görsel oldu gerçekten. Ayrıca de gölgelik ağaçta yetişenlerle gölgelik ağaçta yetişmeyenlerin arasındaki boy farkı, genetik farkı, bunlardan bahsetti ve bize bir tane çizgili Colombian örneği gösterdi. Bu çizgili kavramı da ben oraya gittiğimde çizgili bourbonlardan da bahsetmişti o zamanında. Değişiklik gösterebiliyormuş kirazlar. Bazıları çizgili olmaya başlamış ve bunlar Stripe Bourbon, Stripe Colombia diye ayrı varyeteler olarak da satılıyormuş. Bunların hem kendi genetik evrimsel sonuçları ve mutasyonları sonucunda hem de gölgelik ağaçlardan dolayı da doğabileceğini söylüyor. You can continue, my friend.